Welcome to Driving Immersion. This is the immersive racing experience. We are at the Temple of Speed at Monza, driving in a classic format circuit from 1991. We are driving in Automobilista 2, one of only a couple of game platforms that can accomplish exactly what you're about to witness. Get ready to step back in time in a Formula 1 car. First, let's take a tour of the 1991 track, a very different form from what we know Monza to be today. After passing the pits on the right, we cross the start-finish line and we approach turn 1, 2, 3, and 4, which is a chicane that starts going to the left. Turn 2 here to the right. Turn 3 to the left again, very slightly. Again, it's a chicane, double chicane. Turn 4 again to the right. And we approach Curva Grande, a long right-hander. And just before we get under the bridge, we are in top gear, approaching the chicane of 6 and 7. Accelerate out very hard. Quick tap on the brake here before shifting up and down. And we are in the first of 2 Lesmos. Another turn to the right. And this is the second Lesmo, and we are going to accelerate all the way out here, and we consider this the back straight, at least the first half. We go under the old oval track. That's what that bridge is made of, or made for. And here we are approaching Ascari, which is the exit to the chicane. And the second half of the back straight. Flat out here again, and a very heavy braking here into the Parabolica, a long right-hander that actually opens up as we exit out, and that will take us again past the pit entrance to the right, main grandstands to the left, and there are the pits, and we cross the start-finish line again. Quickly verify our race settings here. As you may already have seen through the preview of the lap, we are driving as Alain Prost in the Ferrari. One of our early F1 heroes. Here we go for the start. And this is actually when they were still using green lights for the starting lights. Didn't get to see that at the start, but here is the Ferrari coming through. And you can see right now we are in 10th place, so a couple of places that we had come through roughly over the curve. Now we do have damage turned off here for Automobilista 2. Still not very familiar with the AI, if they are going to be bumping around and taking us off course or out of the race. We do have tire wear and fuel use. Again, full simulation. No anti-lock brakes, but we do have traction control, and as this is a dry day, we are going to turn that off. And this is going to be a full 53-lap race. Again, down the back straight, under the bridge, coming into the chicane. 10, 11, and 12, and the exit. Again, very heavy in the throttle here, very straight. And right now we have just a little bit of clearance just ahead of us. Having a look at the leaderboard, we have Andrea de Cesares just in front of us, and that is Emmanuel Apiro ahead of him, and JJ Leto. All names very familiar if you are a very early Formula 1 fan. And it's been a long time since I've heard a lot of these names, but again, just seeing the last name there will remind you of their first name right away. So through the Curva Grande once again. And I believe that bridge is also part of the track that we drive under. This is turns 5 and 6, which is a chicane. First to the Lesmos, the curves here all around the track are very high, not very good or useful for driving on, so we avoid them for most of the race. You can see that it certainly changes the balance of the car when you are up on the curb. Looking to get around the other Ferrari here.
2 out of 3, ain't bad.
And I believe those Ferraris are the factory works Ferraris. So there were a couple of Ferrari teams back in the day. Crossing the start-finish line once again, we can see that we have made it up to 9th place. Slowly making our way to the front.
Those curves do bite.
Now we do have the AI turned up so that we can't just easily pass them, and they are just a couple of seconds faster than us. At least the leader cars are, which is quite a lot of an advantage here in Formula 1. But here in Automobilista 2, it does recreate history, if you remember correctly. The Williams cars are very fast in this generation. And you can see there on the leaderboard, Nigel Mansell, Ricardo Patrese, both Williams, are way off in the front. Not even in camera view at this point. Seventh place now for the number 27 Ferrari. And again, back in the day, this is Alain Prost. That is the iconic helmet that he wore.
7th place, 3rd lap.
Again, back in those days, they didn't change helmets very often, if they did.
Getting a little bit of a vibration now from the front tires.
So the drivers are very easily recognizable just by their helmet design. The curves here through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 are still pretty high. And again, we do everything to avoid them, though they're not as bad as the inside curves here, as you can see there. So approaching our teammate here in the number 28 Ferrari, that is Jean Alesi. And just ahead of him, having a major lockup there, I believe
We
it
actually
is...
bumped our teammate and we're going for a spin. Let's get out of this grass.
2 cars off track just momentarily. The number 27 here struggling to get back on track.
Major vibration from the front tires.
And that is one thing
Back
that
12th place.
Automobilista is very good at simulating, is the flat spot in the tires. Not only do you feel it in the steering wheel, you'll be able to see it there on the tire if you look further to the right from the driver's seat. But right now there is a major vibration in the steering wheel, and it will actually indicate that one of your tires is very worn. You can see there the right front more than 50% worn now, as we had a major lockup at Ascari.
And over the curve.
So right now with that flat spot, what we feel in the road is a major vibration. Very difficult to judge grip as that vibration starts to come through the steering wheel. Now this is our first full race here at Automobilista, so we don't know if that vibration is actually going to go away, get better, or get worse. I think in nature, the vibration usually gets worse as the flat
A
spot
lot
will
less
make
grip.
itself worse.
Can't quite see the tire. I think it may be the right front that's got a lot of flat spotting.
So the HUD does show that there is a lot of wear in both front tires. Maybe we've got too much brake bias up in the front. Again, a major lockup, it only takes one, and you can see how worn those tires are. Keep looking at the right tire just to see if we can spot some flat spots. Again, it'll be very visible once we get to see it. A little wide
Definitely
there
reduced
at
braking capability.
the little wide at the entrance into Parabolica.
That lap, 3 seconds behind.
There's somebody else having a major lockup. Didn't quite see who that was. So again, that is our teammate just ahead of us, and those two other cars we are going to be fighting for position with. So we are currently in 11th place. There will be 10, 9, and 8 just ahead of us.
You can see there the damage in the front tires. Another lockup.
Yes, again, very heavy on the brakes, and we don't have the braking capability that we once had as a result of these flat spotted front tires. And by now we would have adjusted the brake bias more to the rear wheel so that the front tires don't have to do as much. But again, there's only so much of that you can do before you start wearing out the rear tires prematurely. Here is a look down the main straight past the pit stops or pit boxes and into 1, 2, and 3. We're just a little bit closer now back to our teammate as we are starting to settle down into the race. This is now lap 7.
We can see the tire, there is a flat
53.
spot. Again, when you are braking hard. We've shifted some of the braking power to the rear. It's going to save that front tire a little bit, but it's definitely going to change our braking ability. Definitely cannot brake as hard as everybody else. Currently in 11th place. This is lap 7 of 53. Long way to go.
And through the first set of chicanes, once again, we are closer to John Lacey. Coming in through the Lesmos, we now have one of the Works Ferraris in between us.
Got a good run on this Ferrari. Almost hit a Lacey again. Very deep into the braking.
And there we got to see that one of the advantages we have with this Ferrari and our setup for this race here at Monza is that we have very little wing. We have very good top speed. You can see here that we are getting just a little bit closer just before we get to the entrance of the Parabolica. If the straight was long enough, we'd certainly make it up to these cars, but here we come up the main straight once again. Now here at Monza, you would regularly have lower downforce settings than most other tracks. And that is one of the reasons why the cars go so fast here. So right now, all these cars still fighting for position. There is our teammate just ahead of us.
Are you very slow up there?
We've got a very good run in Lacey. He tries to bluff us. And we are going to get right in there and take two cars before we come into the chicane. Oh, who is that on the left? That is one of the great things here in Automobilista 2 is that the AI does not give up. You can see there that we got all the way ahead of that.
Oh my god. Ran me into the grass.
Off into the grass at Parabolica. Little nudge there from one of the Teamworks Ferraris.
There goes any forward progress.
And we are way behind now, coming into the main straight. Still a long race. Now we are running actually a very light car as we are not filling up the fuel tank. We do allow refueling at this point. You may want to check with the regulations back in 1992 or 1991 if they allowed refueling at that time. So once again, we are looking at the Ferrari of Alain Prost in the 1991 season. Again, a feat possible by IMG, Immersive Motorsports Groups. They do modding for a few other race platforms, but here in Automobilista they have the corner on these classic F1 cars. So the full field here is represented with the correct liveries, correct driver names and helmets. Again, to replicate one of many of the classic
It is going
F1
away
races.
just a little bit as we put more wear on these tires.
So there you have it. The vibration is going away just a little bit as we continue on in this race. The Works Ferrari jumping over the curbs, and we are going to stay back. And I apologize. I do remember the drivers' names. When I see them, I cannot identify them by helmets, except for Senna, Patrese, Mansell, Prost, and Berger. And once again, back in the day, they didn't change the helmet liveries very often. Once in a while, they may add something for a special occasion, but for the most part, Alain Prost, Ayrton Senna, they had their helmets, and that was it. Into the Parabolica, once again, you can see here that we've got a big traffic jam just ahead of us. And a look to your left and right through the grandstands and the pit stands. You can see here that Monza is represented very well and in high detail.
Oh, big spin here.
That was a very big accident. Again, we do have the damage turned off. And you can see here that I believe a Lacey has gotten around this
Back to
once
11th.
again. Also, Gerhard Berger.
We're gonna come in, change his tires. Maybe we'll come out with a clean track ahead of us. Racing with these guys is just slowing us down.
Yes, even back in the day, it's better to come in and fix something or change something on the car and get out of traffic. And that way you can put in more consistent fast laps. Right now we are losing a lot of time, especially with that crash in the first chicane. And you can see there from the track side that there are flat spots in the front tires. And right now they do affect the drivability of the car. You do feel a very heavy vibration in the steering wheel. And with enough force feedback in your system, you'll be tired in no time.
Tires, there's no repair, thank God. And we are fueling.
There we are, not a very fast pit
Here's
stop.
their track.
You can see there too that our speed limit through the pit lane is 240 kilometers per hour. They didn't have a speed limit back then, and that is what we're trying to replicate. However, as we are so accustomed in the current Formula One seasons and races, we tend to slow down just a little bit as we enter the pit lane. And we are actually not going full speed at all. Just very strange to go very fast through the pit lane. Out of the pits, we are in 17th place. New set of tires. A splash of fuel. Again, I believe that is not enough to finish the race. So we are looking at marks of flat spots in the tires still. I believe we changed tires on that pit stop. And there you can see as the tires go around.
There's the race. We are in 17th place after one pit stop.
So we did replace the tires. You can see there
A
that
couple of
they
spins.
are
Here's another
fairly
one.
new. And that is not going to age the tires very well. Get our car back in the
There's a lot of
pointing in
gravel
the
on
right
the road.
direction.
I believe that is the leader. Yes, Mansell.
And at this point, after our pit stop, we are lapped.
So we have been lapped.
At this point, we will be getting the blue flag if we did stay ahead of these cars. That is Mansell and Tracy, nose to tail, just ahead of us
So
now.
the two Williams cars are together, running away with the race.
Again, we are one lap behind in the Ferrari of Alan Prost.
Oh, another
A couple
spin.
of
What's going
spins.
on? I need to.
And another spin.
Am I stuck on the curb? I was.
You gotta be careful in these classic races with these classic track configurations. You can get hung up over the curbs, and you can get stuck in the sand, or gravel, I should say. So after a couple of very unfortunate events, the number 20 8 of Alan Prost. Number 27 of Alan Prost is down in 23rd place. So very far back in the field at this point. Again, still in a long race. We are only on lap 15. We do have a very fast car in the straight. It is actually survivable in the chicanes and the curves. Quick look there on the screen. We got to see a couple of the McLarens together.
The track seems to be getting a little bit more slippery. Whether it's the marbles or perhaps the gravel that's on the tarmac.
As I look at the timing there, you can see that that last lap was 19 seconds slower than our previous lap, or our fastest lap. So a lot of time lost on that spin. And I believe this number 3 car that we have passed, or is behind us, is the Braun of Nakajima. And if I do remember correctly, that is where Honda had stepped into Formula 1 with the Brauns. And you're welcome to comment and correct me if you'd like. So from the cockpit, this is our preferred view as we race in open wheel.
Oh, they're losing it again?
There was a save from Mars Medina in Alan Prost's Ferrari. Yes, so this is the cockpit view that we like. It is, I believe, based on a 35 millimeter or a 35 degree POV. And as we sit in the cockpit, we can just barely see the insides of our wheels. So we do have a very good look at the tires and their tire conditions. A little glance to the right or left and we can see the full wheel, again as an open wheel car. And I guess that is the best description of how we have our POV set up so that we can see our wheels. Out of Ascari and down the back straights, a couple of McLarens flashing out of the screen as we come through the Parabolica. Right now a very clear track ahead of Alan Prost's Ferrari from the 1991 season. And that is going to allow us to hopefully make up some time here. If not, simply just avoid accidents. And again, as we circle the track here, that is the sound of the Ferrari V12. One of the last V12s in Formula 1. In fact, Ferrari was the last car to have a V12. At this point, I believe some of the Benettons we're
So right now we've
into
got a
the
very good
eights.
clear track ahead of us. Let's just try not to mess anything up. We're gonna bring the bias a little bit more to the front.
So once again here from the cockpit, our view is actually not very wide as we try to simulate what the driver would actually be seeing behind the wheel. Again, as you are very focused on the track ahead of you, your vision may actually concentrate down to 15 degrees, which is a very small area, pinpointing, for example, the apex or the inside of the curb, and the rest of your view is actually omitted from attention. Now, as we approach the straight here, our view may actually widen, maybe 25 degrees or so. But the things that you see there on the outside of the fence, we are actually not looking at, and we rarely ever see at speed. All inconsequential as we are concentrated on what we are seeing on the track. A look there into our mirrors, again, a very focused view. Once we make the effort to look sideways and into the mirrors, if I'm looking at that mirror, I don't see the tire detail whatsoever. And again, that's an example of what you'll see behind the wheel. Now, if you are at home and driving this car on your own, it may actually be a little bit dizzying or distractive to be able to see the helmet visor there and actually the bottom of the helmet opening, but again, our view here behind the wheel is always moving and shaking, varying on speed and the turns. You can see there that we are leading a little bit and looking into the turn as we turn right, and for some people that is very distracting. So for most people, they have a static view of what is behind the cockpit or what it's like to be behind that cockpit. Let us know what you think. I like being able to move around. It does add to the realism. Actually, when I'm sitting in the cockpit and I move laterally left or right, the car itself moves in the opposite direction.
Could not get back over it.
A very wide exit out of Ascari. That curb there is very high in 1991. Today it's very flat. There's actually a very wide apron painted in green just in case.
I am getting somewhere at the left rear.
That is one of the things that are very different here in 1991. We can see other cars coming in and out of the pits now. That is one of the 7-Up cars behind us as he exited the pits. So according to the leaderboards, that is Bertrand Gachot in the 7-Up car. The very green car behind us. If I remember my cars correctly, that black and yellow car up ahead is a Lamborghini. Again, if you are more familiar with the classic F1 cars back in 1991, let us know which car is the black and yellow car ahead of us. Quick look in our mirrors, the 7-Up car is up to us once again, as we brake very hard here for the Parabolica. that lap, incidentally, a few seconds slower than our fastest lap. Coming in through Curva Grande, we are coming onto a small group of cars once again. There we are once again. One of the very neat things about AMS2, the AI does not give up. I believe we braked a little bit too hard to get the Ferrari through, and the Lamborghini drove right past by. I would imagine that is exactly what they would be doing back in 1991. And if there is a gap, we gotta shoot through. A very clear track in the Alan Prost Ferrari as we come in through Parabolica. 12th place out of 25. This is lap 22 of 53, and we are just about to start lap 23. Once again, there is the start and finish line.
First lap on that last one.
1:29.523, I believe, on that last lap. Again, we are watching the number 27 Prost's Ferrari, driven by Mars Medina here at Monza for 53 laps.
Oh, been at the gravel a little too wide. Well, actually, we're not going that fast. I believe that is Senna once again.
Yes, a quick look back, and that is one of the McLarens. That would be Gerhard Berger, and that is now Senna behind us. So both McLarens together here.
The other McLaren.
There he is. Yellow helmet, and that is Senna. into the grass. Now we would have the blue flag as we do there, indicated for us, and we need to let him
This
go.
is Senna.
But he's got to make the effort to get around. Right now we do have him on the straight, again, as we have very little wing on this Ferrari. There he is on his way as we shoot out of Scari. 24 laps done of 53. We are in 12th place driving Alan Prost's Ferrari. Going through the Parabolica, it does look quite simple, but it actually is not. It is a very slow in and a fast out as it opens wider as you get closer to the straight. Here we are through turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 again, a double chicane. And again, this is the track formation from the early 90s here at Monza. Main difference is turns 1, 2, 3, and 4. Today's track configuration requires a very, very slow entry into only 1 and 2, so it's only 2 turns into the chicane. Actually 3 if you count the exit. So there once again, 12th place here for Alan Prost's Ferrari, the number 27. Again, that helmet livery does bring back a lot of memories, but only if you grew up watching Formula 1. Here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. And again, with this track configuration, the curbs were very high, as you can see there. Very dangerous to get your wheels on, and it will throw your car out.
Those curbs are ridiculously high.
Here is a small group of slower cars. Once again, the factory works Ferrari. Now, I do believe we are racing with these cars. And as we are watching the Ferrari circle the track, you can see there that there is a lot of debris stuck to the body of the car, no doubt just very sticky rubber from the tires splashing up and sticking to the paint. Out of Curva Grande once again, under the bridge. And this is turns 6 and 7. Number 8, the first of 2 Lesmos. Again, looking at the curb on the outside and the insides of the turns here, they are very high compared to what they are today. So that would be Nelson Piquet just ahead of us. We've got a spin out here, a couple of cars. That is the 7-Up Jordan Ford. And I believe the black car was the Minardi Ferrari or the Ursula Ford. Back underway, and again, this is the Ferrari of Alan Prost, number 27, driven by Mars Medina. Right behind one of the McLarens. Now we may be getting a blue flag right here. That is Gerhard Berger, again in one of the McLarens. He is just about to lap us in the Ferrari, and we are just not giving him any space. He is going crazy back there, on and off track. Here we are again, just after the long straight. We do have quite a lot of speed here in this Ferrari with very little wing.
He's got to clear the Benetton if he wants to come around.
So yes, the Benetton Ford has gotten around, as well as Gerhard Berger, and we can have a look at them here. Down the main straight in the far distance there, that is again the number 27 Ferrari, followed by Gerhard Berger in the McLaren, who is just about to lap us. Again, a very fast car here under Gerhard Berger, as the McLarens and the Williams were the show of the generation. And the Ferrari that we are driving in had a good showing every now and then, but reliability was a big problem with Ferrari back then. And so they don't have a lot of the results to show for it, other than a few wins here and there. So again, continuing on in the number 27. There is the blue flag once again, and this time we're going to give away to Gerhard Berger in the McLaren. And you can see here that he is just taking off into the distance with a very, very fast car. Still behind us, Nelson Piquet. Oh, another crash here. And that is a big group of cars. I see Senna. And I see one of the other Benettons. Couldn't quite tell who that was.
I think there might have been a couple of McLarens in there. We're up to 5th place. Yep, 6th place. Was in there, 7th place. 9th place.
A clear track once again for the number 27. Again, driven by Mars Medina. We are looking at Nigel Mansell here, who is in the lead. He is 1 lap ahead at this point. And looking at the timing, Ricardo Patrese not too far back, just about 5 or 6 seconds. And further back in 3rd place, Gerhard Berger, whom we were racing with just a few laps ago. And I believe we managed to unlap ourselves as he got caught up in a accident there in one of the chicanes. There is Berger, and that is John and Lacey just behind him in the other Ferrari. See a lot of smoke there. Wonder if that is just a brake lockup. That is Senna. And right behind him, one of the Jordan Fords. Do not have the timing or classification up right now, but I believe Senna is also on the lead lap.
31 laps complete. Right now we are in the points.
Now we are just into lap 31, just over a little bit over half of the race, so still a long race to go. Anything can happen. I believe we have still one more stop here for the Ferrari as we are watching Jean Lacey. And that is how far ahead Berger is. So the order is Mars Medina and then John Lacey, who we're watching here. Gerhard Berger, who is in between the two, has lapped John Lacey and is about to lap Mars Medina, so he is very far ahead. There we saw the Ferrari just coming through the screen. On board here with the number 27, we are trying to adjust our pit strategy here while driving. If you remember correctly, we did come in for one stop already. That was unscheduled. We were actually caught in a lot of traffic, and I think we were just about 4 or 5 laps away from our targeted lap, or targeted pit stop, but we were also fighting flat spotted front tires, so we thought we'd come in early and change out and get out of the traffic. So two stops here for the Ferrari, number 27.
Actually got better speed than the McLaren. Don't know exactly where he's beating us.
So I believe he's got more wing as he's able to stay with us in the braking zones and the corners. Once in a while there he is flashing in the mirror. Again, that is Gerhard Berger. He is wheel to wheel with the number 27. And right now he has come around and he's getting away once again. On board now with the number 27, our teammate just behind John Lacey, a couple of seconds or so.
We're coming in this lap.
We are coming in as we only have 3.1 liters of fuel. And again, that will not be enough to get around one more lap. So again, no speed limit here in the pits. There we are into the box. The clock starts ticking and we can see they are working on the tires.
Waiting on fuel.
not doing any repairs. So we are waiting on the fuel, and we are ready to go. That is 11 seconds.
Very slow.
So right now, not too far behind, one of the Terrell Hondas. Again, this is, I believe, when Honda came into Formula One. Right behind him, one of the Jordan Fords. Can't quite tell who that is, but it is the blue and green 7-Up car.
So that was our last stop. We should be able to make it to the end of the race. On this fuel and these tires, as long as we don't flat spot them.
The right turn that we just drove through looks very, very different today. Those grandstands are no longer there. However, turns 10, 11, and 12 are still very much the same.
That was a little bit slow out of there.
And there is another lap for the Ferrari.
I think we should be able to regain some positions if people come in and pit. Don't know if it's possible somebody could go with just one stop.
And unfortunately in Automobilista 2, there is no communication from the pits. However, if you're running low on fuel, they will raise the pit stop banner, the black and yellow sign that you see on the right. Very wide on the exit there. Again, the curb very high back in the early 90s. And you can see there that it upset the car greatly. Today, the curb is still there. There is a paved apron on the outside. So it is a lot safer to be able to run over the curb on the exit.
That's 3 seconds slow. I think we've got a pretty heavy tank right now.
Yes, that lap 2.920 seconds behind. our fastest lap. Again, one of the Jordan Fords right behind us. Can't quite tell who that is just yet. He is going fast. It may be Michael Schumacher. At this point of the season, he was with Jordan Ford, and he was quickly moved into the Benetton Ford, and I think that was by July of 1991 or 90. Comment below if you know the answer. Back on board with the number 27. Slow Tyrrell Honda, don't know what's going on with him right now. A lot of smoke here coming into the chicane. Can't quite tell who that is that spun out. They are driving through the gravel and raising a lot of dust.
That's Senna again.
And we look very briefly into the rear view. That is Senna right behind us. Must have gotten into another scuffle with the car that was off into the grass, and we were able to get back around him once again. And no doubt he'll be fighting to get by once again with the number 27. And that way he will regain his lap over the 27.
Wow. Why did you have to bump?
A very big hit there. And totally knocked us off track. I believe that is Nakajima right behind us in the number 3. Satoru Nakajima. Again, a lot of these names I remember just from watching it back in the day. So now looking at the leaderboard, after that pit stop, you can see there that John Lacey have moved up to 5th place. And we are now back to 8th place. We are talking about 15 to 20 seconds difference here. Lap 39 of 53. On board with the number 27 of Alan Prost. We are in 8th place. And I believe there are 23 cars still in the field that we are racing with.
Cars came in. I hope those are for position. Yep, one of them.
And by this time in the race, both of the Williams, which are very fast cars, and 1991 have lapped us. The McLarens have come around once already. Unfortunately, due to a couple of accidents, they have been pushed back, but you can see there on the leaderboard, Berger and Senna ahead, way ahead of the 8th place number 27 here. can see here the Ferrari number 27 still moving briskly through the track. Right now that is one of our fast sector ones. And that right there is one of the Benettons, definitely slower than the Ferrari at this point. We are looking to get around him sometime soon. That is a Williams right behind. Now Patrese and Mansell at this time
what was that for?
predominantly white helmets.
That was way too slow.
Was that a brake check from the Benetton?
That's one of the Williams. I believe that is Mansell. And he may be the lead. Mansell or Patrese, can't quite tell. I do see a white helmet. Can't quite tell the number.
So the Williams unable to get around in the straight.
That's a 5. That is Mansell, I believe.
Eventually have to let him by pretty soon with the blue flag warning there. And I don't know here in Automobilista if the system is counting the number of corners. I think in official racing
Definitely
there
not
is
enough wing on this car.
a number of corners in which you have time to let him
But that's
through.
okay, because we are a lot faster on the straight. Gonna let him by.
I am thinking that is Patrese, but again, cannot quite confirm as we're not getting a very good look at the helmet.
These other drivers are very slow in and fast out.
Lap 42 now of 53. Once we cross the start-finish line, there will only be 10 laps to go.
Right up to the
Here
Williams.
at Monza. That is
That is
Mansell.
Mansell, I believe.
Definitely by the helmet. Under the old track once again. This Benetton Ford that is chasing after us, I believe, could either be Andrea de Cesares or Bertrand Grasho. Can't quite tell right now. But I do believe we are racing with him. There it is, Bertrand Grasho. And we are racing with him. So we are going to be very fixed on not letting him by. He's got a very good exit there out of Ascari.
Of 53 laps, 10 laps to go. And that was our fastest lap of the race so far.
We are trackside now, and again, just to hear these cars go by. Some of them have different piston displacements. Some of them are V10s, V12s, and I believe the 4s were V8s. But again, the engine notes back then were so much better than they are today. In fact, you could hear them coming around the corner before you even see them. And today they approach very silently. If you are sitting in the stands. So definitely missing the sound here in Formula One. On board with the Jordan Ford. Again, this is Bertrand Gachot, just seconds behind the number 27 Ferrari of Alain Prost. This is a race. And again, there in the distance, you could hear the Ferrari driving off. Down the first half of the back straight, again under the track, coming in through 10, 11, and 12.
Our teammate, 16 seconds ahead. Don't think we'll be able to catch him unless something happens.
Parabolica, a very long right-hander, definitely going to take off some tire throughout the race.
With the green car behind us. Why do we have the yellow engine light on?
So displayed on the HUD is our lap times for the last few laps. The red times are slower laps, and the green times are, of course, faster laps. There is a HUD display there on the car's condition, which includes the tire temperatures, the brake disc temperatures, the suspension, and the engine. And right now there is a orange indicator for the engine, I believe the 27, right above that, and that may be the amount of wear on the drivetrain or the engine. And if you know the answer, let us know what that light means, as well as the number above it. We're inclined to believe that is the wear on the engine, as we do have wear and tear simulated here at Monza. Tires are doing well. If you remember, in the first stint, the front tires went away very fast. We did have very big flat spots on both tires, in which case we came in early to change out. And
second place, Ricardo Patrese behind us.
That kind of formulated our strategy for the race. Now we are looking onto that car just behind us. Again, we are going to be lapped, and it could be for the second time unless he had come in and made a pit stop. That, I believe, is Patrese. Number 6, yes, I believe that is him. And I think back in the day, Mansell was number 5, and he would have had a lesser number.
So we have to be in a little bit of a conservancy mode here, and not spin the engine. Oh man.
So a big slide there and a bump into the barrier.
Ford Transgasho guiding it around. Don't know exactly what happened there. Tires are still in good shape.
Yes, the Williams we expected to be able to get around. If not by speed, then by blue flag, as he had lapped us. And this is Bertrand Gachot. We are racing with him for 6th and 7th right now.
We should be able to get around him as long as the car stays together.
So 48 of 53 laps, that may not be enough time. Unless we can make up a lot of time here on the straights. Now he has been able to stick with us for a number of laps, so it's very possible that he may in fact have a faster car, especially now being in front. 49 laps now done of 53. We're a little bit closer to 6th place car right now. And we'll just see if we can make a race of this. The number 7 Jordan Ford gets held up in the first of 2 Lesmos, and we are going to scoot right underneath him. So we take 6th place back. He is fighting back. Down the back straight. And we are going to be able to maintain our position for now.
Still
there
on?
he is. Now here in AMS2, there is no rewind button, so if we do fall off the track, have a spin, or have a major accident, we cannot erase that.
3 laps to go.
We can only get back on track and continue on, so we are going to be racing here with the Jordan Ford 7-Up car. And hopefully that will make for an exciting end to this race with just a handful of laps left. You can see there he was a lot more aggressive on the curbs than we are. And I believe back then 6th place was 1 point, so it is the last points paying position. And again, if you know the answer to that, comment below. The Jordan Ford right with the Ferrari of Alain Prost. And right now it looks like the leaders are on lap 53, so the next time they come around, the race will be over. Again, we are about a couple of laps behind at this point in 6th and 7th place here that you see. So once they come around, they will actually finish the race, and this will be our final lap for the 27 here. And the Jordan Ford right behind.
Still giving me a run. That was a very slow trip through the chicane. still in good shape.
And again through Parabolica, if our calculations are correct, this will be the last lap.
Little off into the grass. He's gonna get a run.
You can see him right in the steering side view mirror. And that is going to be it. We hung on to the lead just by a hair with a little off-track excursion there. Only 2 wheels out of Parabolica. And that was enough to get a big challenge there from the Jordan Ford.
Well, he gave us a good run.
So race over. This is our cool down lap once again. You can see here that we finished in 6th place. Not too bad. This is actually our first full race here in AMS2. We've had this game for a number of years, and we've had a few technical issues that we were just not willing to work around, but the advent of these Formula One cars here.
Not a bad race. We ended up in 7th.
That turned back the hands of time, brought us back, and you can see it's very exciting racing. The cars are very simple and raw. The driving is very detailed here in AMS2. So we will be conducting more races here. There are several generations of the classic F1 cars here, and we may be bringing out some of the other cars in upcoming races. Only complaint is that tracks from the past. So again, back into our pit box. We finished 6th. That is the end of the race.
And that is the race. There are the standings. My teammate did come in ahead. I think we had a 10-second penalty. That may be for blue flags? I don't know.
Thanks again for watching. If you've made it this far, don't forget to give us a like and click on subscribe. Let us know how you enjoyed the race. If there's any kind of improvement that you might want to see in our future races, let us know in the comments below. Again, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.